There we go.
Hi, Ed. Thanks for joining, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're
That's a nice
based.
background.
Most of you are US based. Today with us, we have the constitutional conservative running for the US House of Representative, Ed Goldfarb. We started off our conversation before hitting record, actually, where Ed was telling me a little bit about his experience in the Navy. A man with unparalleled qualifications, hardline positions, a formidable person, and with experience in entrepreneurship. So, Ed, this is going to be more of like a freelance conversation. So, we'll tackle a couple of points and we can take it from there. Uh, Take a minute and introduce yourself to the world. Feel free to go to do so.
Okay. Well, I'm Eddie Goldfarb. I'm from Miami. My background started when I was 20. I was at the University of Miami going to the student union, and I saw a display of a Navy jet, stuck my head in the cockpit. And 6 months later, I was in flight school. I was one of the last to be selected for an early appointment to Naval Flight School. When I finished my um, primary training, I was very surprised that I was good enough to make a short list of jet training. Uh, so I went on and I flew A4 Skyhawks in the Navy. I was stationed on the USS Forrestal. Uh, Alex and I were talking. He's in Greece, so I was talking about my mission in Greece with the Greek military. After the Navy, I became a deputy sheriff in Miami for a little while. That didn't work. I didn't really like being a cop, and I let everybody go anyway. Only arrested the bad people, really bad people. I went back to school, finished up. I got into a very successful advertising career with four major corporations. I'm sorry, three major corporations in the United States: AutoZone, Jewel Foods, and Super Value Stores. I was the advertising director. Then I started my own advertising business, very, very successful, and got divorced. And my wife, who was a bookkeeper and running the inside, and while I was out on the road selling, took the business away from me. So I ended up being flat out broke. I mean, I didn't know whether fettuccine or spaghetti. Had to make a deal with my landlord to pay the rent. They repossessed my car. I had to file for bankruptcy while she flourished in the business that I started. Uh, I married a gal that was in real estate, doing very poorly for 5 years. Got my license to help her out. We had 42 sales the first year. I'm writing a book called Sisyphus and Me. You probably know who Sisyphus is, Alex.
Yes,
But
sir.
anyway, about 200 pages in the book, and she's going to be the main topic of the book because truly I call her the demon wife. And I recovered anyway. So I married a gal that was a realtor and did extremely well. My demon wife sued uh, my new wife for allegedly hiding money, which in real estate you cannot hide money. Everything goes through the broker, so it's very public. And my wife's lawyer said the only way to get rid of ex-wife is to divorce Ed. The only way, anyway. So there was a warrant for my arrest in Tennessee. That's going to be all part of my book. So I had to escape Tennessee and move back to Florida. Started my real estate career there, which is 33 years ago. Very, very successful. Then, in the meantime, I developed a new product called a Sopo dispenser, which I have patented. Uh, so I pretty much have the whole thing. I mean, I like anybody else. I really buy from the people, but extremely extensive life experiences, like military, law enforcement, very senior management with Fortune corporations, a business owner, an entrepreneur, a writer. Uh, I'm a commercial pilot. I probably I was saying, what's the expression? Jack of all things, master of none, but I have mastered a few things. So that's pretty much my background. Why I'm running for Congress. I do not like either the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. I think they're both screwing up America really badly. Uh, when I couldn't imagine under Biden the catastrophes that Americans underwent. Uh, it started, I think, with inflation when he took us off energy independence, and that from that point on, our inflation was double digit. gas prices through the roof, grocery prices through the roof. People don't get it. They don't understand what happened there. And then being in real estate, uh, interest rates for real estate was about 3.5 to 3.75%. March 22nd, 2022, they raised the interest rates, the Fed, to home interest rates went up to 7 that day, almost that day. And the real estate market has been killed ever since. So what we call the American dream of home ownership is not attainable to the middle class anymore. In 2000, it took $59,000 of average household income to buy a house. 4 years later, it took 107,000 when the median is about 65,000. So that's one of the things. Then I don't. The Afghanistan pullout as a military, as a veteran, I'm aghast at the way that Biden administration handled the military pullout. They should have. They pulled out the military first.
Yeah,
Let the civilians defend for themselves, and he left $83 billion in military, our weapons, for the
military
Taliban.
weapons. Yeah.
I mean, this they should have been impeached on that. Um, but the people again, if you have any questions, just let me know. I have a tendency to rabble on about things
No,
I
no,
know
go for
about.
it. Go for it. Go
So
for it.
that, and then there are other things that are not quite as catastrophic. Okay, so go ahead. You have questions,
No, I don't.
Alex?
It was more of a statement that,
No. Okay. So anyway,
go for it.
so so we left the Taliban, and what he should have, of course, done was pull the people out. Then, at the same time, concomitantly pulled out the military with all of our weapons. Uh, what else did he do? Of course, oh God, open borders, 12, 15 million people coming here illegally, not even being vetted. I mean, that's insanity.
It is.
Uh, and the people go along with that. The Democrats go along with that. I don't know if they're heads up their rear end or not, but I cannot believe anybody would vote for a Democrat. I think and there was a thing called Biden corruption. I'm calling it Biden family corruption with the Hunter Biden laptop and the bribes they took from Ukraine and involvement in China, which I consider treasonous, and the documents that he wasn't even president then left in his house, the secret documents, the confidential documents. I mean, it goes on and on. And then he pardons his son when his son is guilty, and he's guilty of treason, as far as I'm concerned. And every single Democrat went along with this. And let's go back to Obama, Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. We had frozen, or I guess the Allies had frozen, maybe it was NATO, I don't know who it was. But anyway, they froze uh, Iranian assets. And Obama, under the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JPEG, and it's about 2016, 2017, gave Iran back $150 billion. He also gave them the capability to enrich uranium that's used to make nuclear weapons, thinking that Iran's not going to use it to make nuclear weapons. Is beyond naive. And I consider Iran the epicenter of terrorism. I know in 1984 they were declared a terrorist state. I also know, if you check it out on fundapol.org, which is a French think tank, there's been 148,500 terrorist attacks worldwide from 1979 to 2021, killing 210,000 people. Of course, more than that. Now, knowing that, Iran was probably involved with a lot of those terrorist attacks, including 9/11, because there was 11 of the 19 hijackers were in Iran just before the attack of 9/11. Actually, they were trading at an airport that I used to fly at, and they were living literally across the circle where I live in downtown Hollywood. Knowing that, Obama gave them 150 billion, 150, $60 billion in frozen assets because they were pretty much broke, I understand. Then the last, I guess, nail in the coffin is Biden, just before the Hamas attack, gave them another $16 billion. I mean, I don't know. And the Democrats go along with this. It's beyond me. I mean, where are these people at? That's why I consider myself a very moderate conservative. I mean, I, I had no choice but to vote for President Trump. And I've been married to the most incredible woman for 10 years. And I'll tell you this too. I never ever give up. Never give up. Uh, I've been bankrupt. I've been broke. I've been my dreams have been shattered. But I come up just like the phoenix out of the funeral pyre, and I like to come back bigger and stronger. So, and there's a reason I was divorced 4 times before I found Roxana. Uh, and that's all going to be in the book. And I don't know if I'm probably at fault with one or two of them, but not on the others. But anyway, we the only fight we ever had in 10 years when I thought she was going to vote for Kamala Harris, I hit the roof because I know that she would have destroyed this country because Biden did the best, and I also believe that Obama is behind everything. I think Obama is a closet Muslim, and I think he had Bin Laden killed as a sacrificial lamb. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. I don't agree with every well, one more thing. I don't agree with everything Trump says or does. Uh, I think he sometimes hits below the belt and negotiate. I read the book, The Art of the Deal, which allegedly was written by him, a ghostwriter. I mean, it's a good book, great negotiating tactics. Yeah. Um, but I also have taken 2 negotiating courses because I've negotiated well over 3,000 contracts, both in and out of my corporate career. And he makes some mistakes in negotiations. First of all, he's supposed to be soft on the people and hard on the issues. I think sometimes he's too hard on the people. There's a way to do it diplomatically, but he's not a diplomat. That's number one. Number two, he on the immigration, call it amnesty with a heart. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the illegals that came here were invited basically by the Biden administration. And they're here quasi legally because we let them in. So if they are working, if they have a good record, they're not criminals, they pay taxes, they have Social Security they're contributing to, then we find a way to give them a green card. I know my wife and I know people that went through hell. I mean, literally went through hell to get their citizenship. This immigration department we have is hopelessly broken and inefficient and negligent. Uh, that needs to be fixed. And these are good people that we can have come to our country that can really contribute, but it makes it so damn difficult for them. So that's one thing. And then the other thing I want to say is that the entire 212 congressional members of the Democrat congressional members of the House voted 100% not to investigate the Biden administration for corruption. They voted not to investigate. Now, I would want to know the truth, but they don't want to know the truth, or they're hiding the truth. And then we had Lincoln Riley Act, which a young woman was killed by an illegal alien criminal that should never have been here. And I don't know all the details. I forgot some of the details of Lincoln Riley Act, but basically, it would protect people from the illegal aliens that are the criminal illegal aliens. And every single Democrat voted against it, and every single Republican, I think, was maybe, well, not every, but maybe a few exceptions, I have to check the record, voted for the Lincoln Riley Act. Now it's basically to protect Americans. And we just recently had another brutal killing on a bus well, it might have been not been an illegal. It might have been, I think it was just an African American criminal that was arrested like 14 times and let go every time.
There you go.
And
And it was
finally,
let go by
he
Democrat
really did the
judges.
wrong thing. So I think America needs to be recentered. Pardon?
He was let go by Democrat judges. I mean,
I'm sorry, Alex.
Ed, the way I see the U.S. from my perspective is that,
Oh, the
and I'm sorry to
judge.
interrupt you there, is that what the average Democrat would have been 20, 30 years ago is now a Republican. So everybody from the center, even potentially a little bit to the left, all the way to the right, is housed under the Republican Party because the last two killings that have made global news was Irina and Charlie. And both those on the other side of the planet where I'm based in Greece had a very strong impact. Both on the aspect of someone with a criminal record being consistently released, and at the same time, someone that defended the ability for you to discuss freely your ideas and openly being released. Was he a fanatic? I don't consider Charlie Kirk a fanatic, but was he strong in his beliefs? Yes. Does that mean that people need to be executed? No. And at the same time, you see this huge motion of cancellation from conservatives to the liberals. And for me, it's a movement that makes sense. There have been thousands and thousands of careers in the past few years, from the first communist attempt of the US, and that being under Obama, up until now, of thousands and thousands of people, moderate people, losing their jobs, losing their livelihoods simply because they couldn't fully align with themselves with far liberal ideas, communist ideas, really. Uh, this whole cancel culture started from them, and now you see a Republican Party weaponizing rightfully this movement and them being judged on it. So American politics is very interesting for me to see as an observer, and it's very very condensed in the way it is. But it just seems that the concept of manifest destiny, strive to be the best you could be, the city up on the hill, has shifted so dramatically that you guys need to rebuild the whole nation from ground zero.
Absolutely. I've never thought America could deteriorate like it has. And we've lost all the values of our founding fathers. Uh, we are grossly overregulated. Um, and I just can't get my arms around the liberals. We were watching the Charlie Kirk, and that's actually so much a tragedy. But I want to go back to something really bothers me, a little bit off the subject, and that's the subject of what is a hero.
Yeah.
And let's go back to Sully when he landed the airliner on I got the Hudson River, and everybody called him a hero. Well, he was a great pilot because most military pilots are great pilots. Of course, I consider Air Force pilots Navy rejects uh, because they can't land on aircraft carriers. But anyway, seriously, I would kid about it all the time. At least I do. But he landed the plane based on his skill. He not
Mm-hmm.
only saved himself, but he saved the all the passengers on the plane. But it's pure skill. And as a pilot, I would have no problem landing the plane correctly on water if I had to. Now, that being said, to me, and only this is only what I would classify a hero. A hero is someone who puts their life on the line, writes a check for protecting the people. Okay, first responders, cops, firemen, and anybody in the military. Those are heroes because they don't have to do any more. Just putting themselves out there in those specific jobs makes them a hero. But but Charlie Kirk, while he might have been, I don't know very much about him. I didn't even know who he was until he was assassinated. But being assassinated doesn't make you a hero. And I'm going to say one more thing, and this goes back to Trump. Trump said that John McCain, who I actually knew John McCain because John McCain was one of my flight instructors in basic jet training in Meridian, Mississippi. And he wasn't well liked, I'll tell you that. I mean, I did not want to fly with him. That being said, Trump said that John McCain was not a hero. Now, I think what he was talking about was the fact that John, unfortunately, was shot down and was a prisoner of war and was tortured like many prisoner of wars. Now, being shot down does not make him a hero. It makes him very unlucky. The heroism, though, is in his serving in the first place. That's where the heroism is. So
Sure.
I think the United States people in America use that word hero uh, where it doesn't really belong because we're just stretching the meaning of what a true hero is. So I want to just clear up and I argue that point with a lot of people that, oh, Trump said that John McCain's not a hero. And going back, I said, it's not the fact that he was captured that makes him a hero. It makes the fact that he signed up, like
Mm-hmm.
all of us. So maybe Trump didn't realize that because Trump and I are the same age. As a matter of fact, if I'm elected, I'll be the most senior freshman ever elected to Congress. But I'm not going to. I'm saying this all on because I paid my dues. I've done the walk, so I can do the talk. Uh, I am probably the most qualified person to ever run for kind of, or one of the most qualified, let's put it that way. With my extensive life and business experiences across many career fields. At 80 years old, I'm physically fitter than ever, well, except in the Navy. But I work out 4 or 5 days a week. I'm very strong. I have a good physique, very powerful physique. Uh, I work 10-hour days, and I love every second of them. I have an expression that everybody, how do you get so much done? Time expands and contracts to fill the work at hand. I don't know if I've said it, because I never heard it before, but that's my saying. And then also there's another saying that, just be patient, your ship will come in. Well, if you're being patient, your ship's never going to come in. You got to go out there with a tug and pull your ship in. Like I said, I've had my dreams were broken. From the time I was 5 years old, I wanted to be an airline pilot. So what did I do? I joined the Navy, became the best, the best of the best pilots. I got out of the Navy, couldn't find a job flying because there were 5,000 pilots or whatever, I don't know the number, released after Vietnam. So finally, I got a job flying with a small carrier, but my new wife would, well, not my new wife, she wouldn't go to work. And I needed just her to work for one year until the airlines opened up because I was in Miami, and that time we had National, Eastern, Pan American. I would have got on. So instead, I became a cop. Then she divorced me anyway. That was the first divorce. So, but I wanted to be an airline pilot. And then at 47, I was picked up by Northwest Airlines, and I couldn't go because that was when I was going through the divorce with the demon. And she totally broke me, and I had no savings, and I had to pay child support. And I paid what I could on an 18. So I went from making 100,000 a year back then to making $18,000 a year with $1,000 a month child support. You do the numbers. It
Yeah.
doesn't work. And she was making, oh, probably I don't even know how much. I know well over back then, $200,000 a year, and that's a lot of money. Now she's a multimillionaire. But then so my dream of being an airline pilot. Then I went back to Florida State University. Let me digress. Uh, I always said two things: either a pilot or a doctor. So I had a 3.9 average at Florida State. They turned me down for medical school. I was going to go to Guadalajara to start my first 2 years, and my wife would not move to Guadalajara. That was a demon before she became the demon. Anyway, so my life has been a series of setbacks, but my failures, my successes overcame my failures. I'm gonna say maybe a small step back and a large step forward.
That's okay. That's the torture of
And
being a man.
in 2000, well, 2008, 2009, I was broke again because I had students. Well, some people have charmed lives. I've had to scratch for everything I have. That's why I can empathize with the people. I mean, I've been bankrupt. I've been broke 3 times. They repossessed my car when I got out of the Navy. The VA didn't come in time to keep me in college. I can go on and on and on. But I'm going to say one more thing about persistence. Never giving up. So at 67 years old, I was broke again. I was making a lot of money, but all my investments were gone because I put everything into real estate, and that's when the market crashed. And that's another issue all by itself. And I thought, well, so I have to work to 100. At least I'm making great money, and I'll keep on working. Not that I ever plan to retire, but then I only had $70,000. You cannot retire on $70,000. And my son gave me a tip about a stock. I bought it. It went up to 120,000. Tesla was not even making any money. They were still operated in the red, I believe, in 2019. I took every penny I had. I just had a hunch and put it to the test. I said, damn, I have nothing to lose. I'm going to get, if you play roulette, I'm going for 36 black.
Yeah.
And 36 black came in.
Nice.
And since then, I took whatever else money I had. I bought more tests. I bought more stock and diversified my portfolio. So now at least I could retire. Of course, I never planned to retire. And I'll probably, when I die, they'll probably be working out at the gym, pumping, I don't know, 100 pounds of iron somewhere, doing something very athletic. Because I still ski, scuba dive. I mean, very active. I'm finished.
Ed, we're running a little bit on time, so this meeting is going to be closed in like 7 minutes. So let me ask you some other things. What do you want your legacy to be if you win this seat?
I want to make a difference. I want to, I want our country to come back bigger and stronger, and I want to be part of that.
How are you planning on doing it?
Actually, I never even thought about that until you asked me. But no, I'd like to leave my mark. I mean, Congress by fighting for, you know, I believe that we have to help countries that are being invaded by tyrants. Uh, you know what? Actually, I'm going to go way out on a limb on this one. I'd like to see the International Assassination Bureau. That would someone like a Putin or Kim Jong Un or well, Bin Laden, we already talked about anybody that starts a war and invades a sovereign country and is responsible for the lives of our finest and best young men and women that are forced to go into battle and die for their greed, die for their quest for power, which is Putin and Kim Jong Un and others. I'm not going to let's just talk about Putin right now because he's the latest one. He's responsible for how many deaths, how many billions and billions of dollars of infrastructure destruction. There should be a way to get rid of these people, and one country can't do it because the Russian people will blame. Like if we assassinated Putin, we'd get blamed by the Russian people for it. But if it's an international bureau, I mean, one man or small group in his inner circle responsible for so much atrocities, so many deaths of our youngest and finest. War is so barbaric; it serves no purpose except for the one that's starting the war. Think about if we had killed Hitler, assassinated him before he got started.
Well, look,
So
I'm
that's
not
one thing. But
disagreeing with you.
so that's my legacy. I want to make our country bigger and stronger.
I'm not disagreeing with you. It's just that an argument
What?
very recently was that there are sleeper agents in every nation. So the reality is, if somebody wanted somebody assassinated, it could have been done much more simpler than what most people think.
Well, again, I don't want my anybody's child going to war and dying for someone's personal quest for power.
I agree with you. I agree with you. This is the only thing I see as a European, and
One life for millions.
looking at the landscape in Europe, I think that this potential conflict with Russia, it's something that's working very positively in favor of maintaining the European status quo, which is a very flawed status quo. But that's completely irrelevant to your election. I mean, it's just me thinking as a European. Okay, my last question to you is: if you had to explain in one sentence why people should trust you, why should the youngest generation vote for you? Why should anybody that's relatively center all the way to the right
That's great.
give you a shot? What would that sentence be?
Okay, first of all, I'm not a Magna. That's number one. So the young people that are liberals, well, they're going for me. Okay, why should they vote for me? You know, youth is wonderful. It's wonderful. At 40, even 40 years old, I didn't have the knowledge, the wisdom, the patience, the diplomacy. And as you get older, if you're smart, you can change. You don't have to always be the same way. So I am carrying so much knowledge, so much wisdom, so many, the powerful negotiating skills, incredible problem solving ability that I just picked up through the years. So I bring the knowledge, the wisdom that they have not been able to accumulate, but they will. And I think very young. I'm very technically oriented. Uh, I can. I see people my age, and I just don't equate. I equate more with someone in their 40s or 50s or 60s. Uh, so why should they vote for me? Because I am for them. I want them to have a better future, and I have the background and the experience and the knowledge and the wisdom to help them have that better future. Because they're going to be taking over from all of us. Not that we've done a great job, but I think if I was president, quite honestly, I think I could do a great job. I mean, we elected Obama. I'm going to say this real quickly. He was a community organizer. He's a part-time state senator that was elected, appointed by the governor, a part-time U.S. senator. Now, what experience did he have to be president? What experience did he have? Uh,
None.
the problem with, I think, our government is we don't have enough business people in the government. But I want to help these younger generation create an America that I enjoyed for many years until Obama.
Sure, that's actually absolutely fantastic, and I think
Does that
that's
make
main
sense, Alex?
I think that's the main problem with Greece as well. So, I'd love to see more business people, more people from industries and politics. So, with that being said, I'll conclude this interview and thank you very much
I
for
want
your
one
time.
more comment, one more quick comment.
Sure.
Can I have one more quick comment?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe, and I've had this argument with my son, is a lawyer with an Oxford degree. Uh, Government is business. It's not really politics. It's set up just like a table of organization of any corporation. And that's how you have to look at government. Run it as a business, not as a not as a political entity. That's it. I'm finished. I could say
Appreciate
more,
that.
but I'm done. Great talking
And
to
we're
you.
actually on
I
time.
monopolized the
So,
conversation.
we're actually on time. So this is it. Thank you for being part of this. Eddie, best of luck.
Are you posting this on YouTube?